I mean, it's alright. Yellow, my friend. Oh my god. Yellow, my friends, and yeah, I'm back after being dead for like a month. I was burnt out as hell, and I've just felt really demotivated making YouTube videos. On top of that, my throat just absolutely hurts right now. I've just been coughing all week, and I can't do my over-the-top voice, so I'm gonna try my best here. And no, I'm not back. I just wanted to sneak in one last video before I peace out for like 8 months or so. College is about to whoop my ass. Before I get any further, I want to thank this incredible Patreon member, Hot Dark Coca 189, for being a 3-month tier donator. This person is single-handedly funding my entire channel, and I have not done jack in a while. I really don't deserve a person like that. I'm really thankful for having this person around. Though, granted, I am pretty active in the Discord server, so if you want to see me ramble there, then you're more than welcome to join. Anyways, shameless plugs and pity parties out of the way, let's talk about Sonic. Oh my god, he's making another Sonic video. Shut up. I swear I'm not a Sonic tuber. Sonic is just really big right now. Well, maybe not anymore, now that Shadow Generations has been out for like more than a month, and Sonic 3 released to pretty great acclaim, and without spoilers, I've watched it day one with a very special someone, and yeah, it was incredible. I have a few issues with it, but this movie was everything for me. But I ain't gonna talk about that. I'm here to talk about Shadow Generations for hopefully the last time. It was Shadow Generations that made me blow up this year, so it only feels appropriate to end the year with said game. So the new DLC for Shadow Generations came out, and I got the chance to play and beat the whole thing. But wait, Ethan, you don't own Sonic X Shadow Generations, you said. Well, I'm a man of my word, and when the game went on sale, I copped that shit. So yeah, now I can give my complete and honest thoughts about the game. And because the honeymoon phase is over, you will not catch me glazing this game. But for all the troglodyte Sonic fans who just want to hear me say, oh, the game is peak and it's the best thing since Sonic Frontiers, well, to get rid of y'all quickly, the game is good. I had a fun time playing it. The gameplay is good. The music is good. The story is good. The graphics is good. I would easily recommend it over Sonic Unleashed, not because it's a better game, but because it's an easier entry point into the series. Overall, I give it a solid 9 out of 10. It has my stamp of approval. No, seriously, I think it's a good game, and you should get it if you really want to. Thanks for watching. Are they gone now? Alright, now for all the real people who can handle a nuanced opinion, this game is just alright. The game wasn't life-changing, it's no Ghost of Tsushima or Marvel Spider-Man or Subnautica, it was just a good time. Now, I'm purely judging this game as a standalone title because I barely touched Sonic Generations, as I'd much rather play the original for the mods, and weirdly enough, the game felt ever so slightly different. I couldn't put my fingers on it. So we're ignoring Sonic Gens completely for this half-baked review. Well, this isn't really a review, it's more of a rant. Now, for those who think I'm going to completely switch up and that my honest opinions about this game is that it's awful and not worth the price, well, one of those statements are true. The game isn't god-awful, honestly. It's a very nice introductory Sonic game for those who are new to the franchise or for those who are returning fans. I still think the game just isn't worth the price in my eyes, and that's only because I see value in Shadow Generations. But for someone who hasn't played either, yeah, this would definitely be worth it. Especially if you get it on Switch. I mean, having Sonic Generations and Shadow Generations being portable, and I've heard good things about the performance, that's a pretty good deal, honestly. It'd be worth a lot more than getting a Steam Deck and then running Shadow Generations or that, but you get my point. So I'm not here to talk about the good things about Shadow Generations because, let's be honest, that game has been glazed to death by countless other Sonic tubers, so you can probably watch those guys over me. I want to talk about the thing that just kind of bothered me and made me a bit annoyed, starting with speed tech. I hate the concept of speed tech. Let me explain. In Sonic Frontiers, there was a speed tech thing you can do called a homing shot. And it's basically a technique that when you homing attack and boost, you go flying across the map. However, this was never a tech or a skill that you learned in the game. Players found this out by complete accident, and the devs just claimed it to be a gimmick, amongst other things.
I'm gonna hop on that grind rail over there. Care to join me?
So that is how they appear to you.
Do we really need a lore explanation for why the game had floating rails and pop-in? Now, in Shadow Generations, a tech has been discovered where if you use Chaos Spear in the air, you can carry your forward momentum. I'm sorry. Why the fuck do I have to use speedrun techniques to obey the basic laws of aerodynamics? I'm sorry. Let me calm down. Will you accept my apology by potentially leaving a like?
Yes.
Subscribing to the channel?
Yes.
and donating to my Patreon. Look, speedrun tech is cool and all. Sonic Unleashed with its M speed and D speed techniques are funny, game-breaking as hell, and allow you to travel at speeds which under regular, realistic, I say in bold quotations as we talk about a blue hedgehog that can run around at the speed of sound, expectations, would be deemed impossible. And it is absolutely amazing. But in both In both Sonic Frontiers and Shadow Generations, you basically need to do speedrun strats to attain a fraction of Unleash's speed. And can I talk about this for a second? Shadow Generations is Forces 2. Cry about it. It was built on the same Dogwater Hedgehog engine 2, and either Forces, Frontiers, or Shadow Generations come close to the speed and thrill that Sonic Unleashed and Generations attained. I know I glaze Unleashed a lot, but that game is literal gold standard for boost titles, and as time went by and I've had more time to reflect, no game beyond Unleashed has attained that standard. Oh, but we've taken steps to get there. How many goddamn steps are we gonna take here? Jesus, I really need to calm down. And granted, it's not like it fails at it. I do like replaying the stages from time to time. It just doesn't attain the speed found in previous boost games. I don't know, maybe it's because the newer generation can't keep up with power like this, but I digress. Coming back to my original point, I really dislike the fact that in order to obtain basic air momentum that even Forces had, granted the air boost was busted as shit, we need to do speedrun strats, and I despise it. Speaking of physics, in Sonic Frontiers, cyberspace was the worst I have ever seen the boost formula. Say what you want about Forces, but at least that game made me feel fast. Coming back to Shadow Generations, I've kind of noticed that same issue. It was more prominent in that one section in Sunset Heights Act 1, because I can't for the life of me stop replaying that stage. There are moments where you feel pretty slow. Now, granted, that's not a fair argument to make, as Unleashed actually did have moments like that where you felt slow as a snail, but at least in that game, you still had the effect of you going fast, while Shadow Generations just feels sluggish. Now, thank God the 2D is at least better, and even some moments have you going really fast, but I really think we need to have a game that just gives you that constant speed. This is more of a nitpick like anything, but after playing so many different types of fast-paced moving games like Sonic Horizons, Sonic Dimensions, and Spark 3, I can't help but just imagine Sonic being the absolute peak of fast-paced action platforming movement games. Now, what isn't a nitpick is why basic loops in the game are impossible to complete without speed ramps.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
The controls in this game just infuriate me. Like, the game is fun, I just wish we were privileged enough to have basic physics. The open zone feels slow as hell, but after using some speed mods, yeah, I could see why we move pretty slow. I don't know, I've been blessed enough to see lore accurate Sonic speed in Frontiers, so to be kind of slow like this was a bit of a buzzkill, and I mean, sure, it was still fun nonetheless, but I mean, come on, we couldn't go a little bit faster? Also, God, I really hate the air boost in this game. And yeah, that comes back to the issue of basic aerodynamics. Well, it's not like there's anything else in this game that infuriates me. I should really think before I speak. Collecting bolts in this game was painful. Now, granted, Frontiers was no better, but at least it showed us the exact location of a memory token. By the end of the game, it just felt like hell to collect the last few, having to go as far as to look up a guide. I'm sorry, making collectibles like these hard to find, or not providing an easier way to find them, just feels like such a dated way to extend the game time. I think Spark the Electric Jester 3 did it best when the game gave you a radar, and you could find exactly where everything is in the level. Or, heck, like I said before, Frontiers did a good job with how it handled locating its collectibles. Not that they were super fun to collect all of them by the end of the game by any stretch of the imagination, but at least I knew where to look. And sure, you can chalk this up to the map being fairly small, no bigger than Kronos Island, but I mean, come on, a hint or something to make collecting the bolts easier would have been nice. Though, credit where credit is due, the main stage collectibles are placed very well if you're an adequate player at the game, and I only had to go out of my way like a handful of times just to find them. This was the other issue too, especially on Unleashed. The boost tile gameplay just isn't good for exploration. I'm going fast as hell. I don't have time to slow down and get collectibles. I actually think Shadow Gens handles the collectibles much better in this game, as there were some medals, especially in the boost titles, where you intentionally had to stop to get said collectible, whereas Shadow Generations leaves it en route, which makes it a lot better too that the level design is really good. And yeah, I do want to say this up front, the level design in this game is genius. I love what they did here. They definitely solo all the cyberspace and Forces stages, and honestly is quite on par with the Unleashed level design. I love what they did here. I'm curious to know if we could somehow port the levels of Shadow Generations into new Sonic Generations. It would give me an actual reason to play that version. And yeah, at the end of the day, I much prefer Sonic Generations or Shadow Generations, because Sonic Gens just makes me feel something. It makes me feel like the fastest thing alive, where Shadow Gens, well, I mean, at least I got some flair to my gameplay. And this is not trying to put Shadow Generations down. I think we all get this at this point. Well, I mean, some of us get it. A lot of us, no, don't really. The game isn't bad. It just leaves me being a bit frustrated. Do I wish there were more levels? Not necessarily. I've learned that there's a beauty in having a handful of levels and being able to master it. But that's the thing. I don't feel the urge to master this game, or at least attain a high skill ceiling level of power. I kind of hate how easy it is to get S ranks in this game, and they kind of edged me a little when they gave me the Doomwing options, and I learned that there are change score requirements for the Doomwing run. So I assumed with the Doom Rings, oh, you'll have a shorter amount of time to beat the stage because, well, you're a lot faster. But even with the Doom Wings being activated in a stage, it's still really easy to get an S rank, and it honestly felt kind of demotivating to replay the stages for the S rank. Now, the only exception to this rule is Radical Highway Act 1, as that's probably the Eggman Land equivalent. I mean, the jump in difficulty in terms of getting an S rank is pretty goddamn tight here. That's really the only exception when it comes to playing the stages. I'm only playing it for the spectacle, which, yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice, but I'd kind of like to have some merit to it. An easy/hard mode would have been incredible for the stages. And yeah, I know before somebody mentions it, the stages do have an easy and a hard mode, but come on, we couldn't get that for the main stages. I don't know, there's so many little things that they could have done to make my urge to replay these stages all the more stronger. I'm gonna keep it a $1.50 here. Shadow Generations is not my dream Sonic game, and neither is Unleashed, to be completely blunt. I just like playing Unleashed more than Shadow Generations. For those who probably don't know, Modded Frontiers is basically my dream Sonic game. I'm just waiting for the day they drop a polished open world Sonic game where I could run around and use momentum to travel the world. And by the nick of timing, one of my favorite Sonic fan games of all time, Sonic Horizons, dropped a new demo build, and excuse me for the glaze, but this right here is perfection. The momentum feels great, the controls are incredible, the graphics are clean, the performance is the best I've ever seen in a Sonic fan game. From the menu screen alone, I already knew this was going to be a polished fan game. It just works out of the box. It's easy to play, but it's really hard to master. That S rank took me so long to accomplish. And I remember playing the open world beta for just hours, dreaming about how this Sonic game is just incredible and the potential it has. This right here is my dream 3D Sonic game. The dream 2D Sonic game goes to Sonic Dimensions, but at this rate we're never getting Sonic Rush 3, so this will have to suffice. That, needless to say, I am perfectly content with that game. It's just flawless in my eyes. I know I'm rambling at this point, but that's mostly because it's the end of the year and there are just so many things that I wanted to talk about and make on this channel, but life said nah, and I also said nah, and I won't be able to go as hard or crazy making videos next year because I'm going into my final year of college, and I will absolutely need to lock the hell in. If anything at all, I'll be working on my comics or just talking to y'all in my Discord community. This year was pretty interesting for me, and honestly, 2025 is about to be my year IRL because holy crap, there is just so much going on in my life, and that's going to be exciting. But a part of me can't help but be a little bit scared, as it's a bit overwhelming what's gonna happen in my life. I mean, I can see my whole future ahead of me, and just trying to get to that moment now, it really just feels like a matter of putting in the effort and actually being in that moment. But hey, I can't be too scared, as I have a lot of good people around me, and I always seem to overcome great odds, and honestly, y'all can too. I know I'm getting into my Ethan speech territory right now, but let me have this. I don't know what kind of plans y'all have, or if you guys have plans at all, but I wish you all a happy new year and the best good fortune I can give for all of us entering the new year. There'll be ups and downs, that's for sure, but hey, that's just life. And obviously I'm stalling the hell out of this video, so I'll shut up now. I just wanted to have my moment. Thank you all for making it to the end of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and just thanks for an incredible year. This was everything from reaching 1K to opening up a Patreon channel and just having amazing friends. Like that's just amazing. I know I'm stalling. I'm just really thinking about it now. Everything that's happened this year. It was a wild year, that's for sure. And I wish I could carry that momentum going into the new year, but life has other plans for me. And that's not saying I'm gonna quit YouTube, because I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. It's just I'll be taking a break for quite a while. And when I come back, hopefully I can drop some good videos. I do want to bring animation back, so we'll see where that takes me. If you thought this video was interesting, perhaps you'll be interested in the video that started it all. So stay safe, stay wholesome, and don't forget to always be creative.